Hi guys! Why am I so creepy and loud? I am so sorry for that. Hello everyone. I'm coming to talk about, I was going to say rules or recommendations for single moms that are dating. And I realized that this video is pertains to single fathers, single grandpapas, grandmamas, anyone who is caring for children, guardianship, and they're in a single status, meaning they're unmarried, and they're out and they're in the dating scene. And I'm going to tell you why this video came to be, or this is really near and dear to my heart, like many other things. But I call myself being like big sis or big cousin. I don't know if I quite make it to auntie status yet. Maybe in a few more years I will. To some of the younger women that I work with, that I go to church with, just that I meet when I'm out. Um, so far, maybe just the demographics is mostly young Black women or women of color, brown and Black women. But I'm so invested in them and in our brown and Black brothers and everyone, but I'm invested, of course. I want to see them prosper and do well and be successful. And I don't want them to fall into some of the poor choices that I made. So I was talking to this young lady at my job. She's gorgeous, just beautiful inside and out. And we were just talking about like her situationship. Y'all know what that means. And I know my face kind of when she was talking about the situationship and how her daughter had, met this person, even though she knows she's in a situationship. And again, this is no judgment. Okay. We've all been there, but I'm talking to people that are open to recommendations. They really don't know how to navigate the dating scene. I've been there. So this is kind of what sparked this video. I'm going to start, try, maybe count down, maybe I won't, I don't know. But if you are single and you have a child or children and you're dating, these are the rules. Number one, I want you to be in the dating scene if you are emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially stable. That's number one. If you are struggling to find someone to watch your kids, if you're struggling to pay your bills, if you have any sort of struggle in any of those categories, I'm asking you to consider to opt out at the time, at that particular time of the dating scene, because there are other things I want you to focus on. One, I want you, if you have one child, I don't want you to bring any more children in that current state that you're in. So birth control, however, whatever birth control. Now, if you want to get into the religious, sometimes our community, we like to do that. We like to get into the religious part of things, and start talking about abortion. I'm not going to go down that road, but let's talk about prevention. Let's not even get to abortion. Let's talk about prevention. There's Planned Parenthood. There's so many centers, I don't know what they're called now, that at least in my neighborhood, that I was able not to have another child. Did I still have sex with my son's father? Yeah. I mean, I wasn't at this place. I was younger, but I made sure that the birth control options, I made sure I employed a birth control options so I wouldn't get pregnant with 2, 3, 4 kids and I didn't have a job, didn't have schooling, didn't have experience, things like that. So we said, number one, we want to make sure that we are physically, mentally, financially ready to be in a dating scene. If you're not, we want to focus you on those areas. We want to get you on those areas. If you have children, again, we want to make sure you get your birth control down. We don't need to bring in more kids. If you need monetary assistance, I don't want you to depend on the dating scene or whomever you're dating for monetary assistance. I want you to stop what you're doing. And again, if you are plugged into a lot of the social welfare programs, they normally help you. Now I'm going to say this, you have to be willing to uproot your kids. If you are in a rural area or area where they don't have a lot of social welfare programs, you need to get a bus ticket, figure it out, and get to one of the cities. I know DC, New York, Maryland. There are a lot of cities, California, there are a lot of cities that will help you get the qualifications you need and help you get off assistance, because we don't want you to stay on assistance. And I was on assistance. So the whole point is not judging anyone. So that's number one. If you're in those categories and you're not stable in those, I shouldn't find you in a dating scene. Number two, to determine the type of relationship you're in. When you meet someone, they shouldn't automatically meet your kids. They shouldn't meet your kids even if you've been having sex with them for a number of years and you do relationship like things, but it's a situationship in a sometime ship and whatever the case may be. Your kids should never meet anyone that you're dealing with unless it's been defined by you and that person that we are actually in something for the long term. Now, my Christian faith is very important to me, especially at this point in my life that I'm actually reading the word and I want to be in God's will. If you're not, this applies to you as well. No one should be interacting or meeting your kids unless they are saying that I want to be the role of stepmom, steppa, or what have you. And your kids deserve a time to assess. And like if your kid is just wants you to themselves, like you'll know those basic things. They need to feel comfortable themselves around that person. I don't want you to bring someone around them and they're not comfortable. And what I find is that, and this what brings up that conversation, and no judgment to anyone, because I love her and I just love people. Now her daughter or her child will be attached to this person, where this person really doesn't have a dog in the fight. He may up and leave. Like, he's not serious. And now you have your children attached to a person. Or one, you really don't know how your child feels around that person. So you have to determine a length of time before your child will meet the person you're dating. And I would say if you're just dating and that's not your fiance, that's not someone that you've been with for a long period of time, 6 months to a year, that person should never meet your child. And that kind of goes into 3. I don't believe if you're single and you're dating that individual should be coming to your home for entertainment. And you can fill in the blank for entertainment. It could be just to whatever you all, just having a glass of wine to the full kit and caboodle. They shouldn't, even when your child is not there. And I didn't do that. I messed up on that one. So I allowed my ex-fiance, when we were dating, he did come over, not when my son was there, before like my son met him. My son met him like almost a year later. But I shouldn't have allowed him in our personal space, in my personal space. If he didn't, at the time, he was renting a room. So he still, I guess, had his own place. But we really, at this stage of the game, I'm being honest with you guys, you all have to determine, going back to 2, what type of relationship you're looking for. If you're just looking for a hit and quit it and you just want that sort of companionship, there really should be no boundaries crossed as far as your personal space. I'm being honest with you, there really shouldn't be meet up at a hotel. We grown folk. If that's all you want to do, then by all means, that's what you do. They should never be in your personal space. They shouldn't see where your kids sleep. You shouldn't really be in their personal space. And vice versa, you shouldn't be meeting their kids either. If you all haven't had these things defined, you shouldn't be meeting their kids either. And I'm really, I just think I'm talking to Tim about myself now and my own past. Like, I felt, I'd already interrupted my son's life enough by doing things the way I did things and not being married to his father and not doing things the way. And people may say marriage, again, is old fogey, that's old time, but there's a lot of protections with marriage. And I think a lot of other demographics, a lot of other ethnicities and races, they understand that they understand a contractual piece of a marriage, that you build wealth through a marriage. There's stability in a marriage. There's a lot of things that is, for me, if I'm just like segregating sort of my spiritual beliefs or my religious beliefs, that marriage is, there's a lot of, excuse me, stomach growl, but there's a lot of things that kind of cause stability in a family. So, another thing that I have about kids is, I think that the person you're dating in general, I think you should do a background check on them. Now, luckily, and I don't want to get I won't reveal his picture or name ever. So, that's that. But at the time, a great friend of mine, a close friend of mine, was dating this Marine police officer, or a police officer. So he had access to all the databases. So she was able to run anyone that I was interested into the national systems. And that's how I found out that my ex had, he had a charge. Now, it wasn't anything like pedophilia or rape or anything. And those to me or like battery or something. Back in the day, I used to have this thing, hey, if you were a street pharmacist, if y'all know what that means, or what was it? I had some things like, yeah, even some, murder charges. I had to hit a story. Like, I was silly back then, but at those cutoffs, there's like, if you had anything where you abused children or women or old people, or you showed that you had anger issues, like, that's not gonna. But I was able. She ran that check. She ran that background check, that criminal check, and I was able. I didn't see, so he passed the test for that, and we were able to talk through the other issue. So I do believe in background checks. You can do a background check on me. I think we take lightly to dating and what it means. But people, we all have demons. We all have things we struggle with. We all have a past. We all have a history. We all have these things. The whole thing with dating is to find someone where it's compatibility. It's not about perfection and that they've never done anything wrong or you've never done anything wrong. It's about, are they honest and transparent, which is two completely different things. When you're transparent, a person doesn't have to ask you the question. You volunteer the information. When you're honest, if they ask you the question, you give them an honest answer. So there's the fifth thing. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. I get lost with the numbers. Whatever. This is another recommendation or rule. I think you should ensure that if you're dating someone for any period of time, you all should frequently be getting tested that should be one of your date nights, is to go to an STI, STD, HIV facility and get tested, especially in our community. And that's something that's near and dear to my heart, especially in the Black community. I forget the latest statistics. I think Black women, I think are 62% of new cases of HIV AIDS. I think it's like 62%. And then we're like the 77% is some percentage of being single parents. So that's a whole, we can dissect that and unpack that. There's a lot to unpack right there. And we're the least likely to get married ever. Anyways, I hope this helps someone, and I please do not take this as Paula's wagging, big sis Paula is wagging her finger at you. No, I've been in your position. I know that you want companionship, or you may feel lonely, or you may feel like no one cares about you and that all you do is take care of your kids. But let me tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you this. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You don't ever have to click on this video, or you can click down or something. A friend of mine for the Why I Don't Date Black Men, he said, I clicked down. I said, did you watch the video? He said, no. I said, of course. Anyways, what I'm going to say to you is that our children do not ask to be here. They don't ask to be here. And when you have them, you decide to have them, your life, I'm going to say it, not over in a sense like, oh, it's over, I'm going to be depressed and nobody want about. No, but your life has meaning and purpose. Now you have to pour into this person and make sure that they exceed you in everything, that they have the best that you can afford of everything. It's not about your creature comforts and I'm horny and I want this and I want that and I want this and that. And I'm going to do, use people and use men and use women to get that. It's about, I have a responsibility for another life. I've been blessed to be in charge of someone else. And if you don't think you can do that, I'd rather you drop your child off at a Catholic church or any church or at the hospital, not in the trash can or in the toilet or anything. Because there are people that would love that child. Okay, so, and if you know already that you have any sort of proclivities or other issues, I'd rather you get a hysterectomy or get a 10-year birth control shot or something like that, or whatever the case, get your tubes tied, whatever the case may be. Okay, you know that you don't have it in you to love and to pour everything into that child. You do not need to have a child. And my son will tell you, he didn't know about the African guy or any of the blind dates that I went on or this, that, and the third like that. He only met my ex-fiance a year later. My ex-fiance was here for, was here with him for 8 months before he got stationed to Hawaii. And my son didn't even believe me. It was like almost a year later, because at that time, my ex-fiance is like, I'm trying to get back to DC. I just got 2 more. You can do it. This, that, and the other. And I'll be back in DC. My ex-fiance, I had it. And if you have this type of relationship with your ex, children's fathers or children's mothers, I would include them. So my son's father has been in his life, thankfully, all his life. So, and we were friends and lovers for many years. So we opted to go to parenting counseling, and we had a parenting agreement that we came up with about the conditions, what are the ways, the criterion for when we were dating and how our son fit in that. So we kind of are pretty nerdy, I guess people say it, but we're pretty academic and pretty by the book about certain things. So we came, he and I, we worked down like this is the appropriate time. So one of the conditions was we had to meet the person before our son did. And I even met my son's now stepmom via video chat. And my son's father, he met my ex-fiance when he came back. He met him like in person. They did the man-to-man bro. They went and got a drink or something and they met that way. And they had, whatever words they had was between them. So again, I don't mean to get really serious with a lot of people, but I love old people and I love children. And I don't want to see anyone. I love all people, but I really do. And children, I think sometimes they get forgotten when people are out here to dating. I think people are just such a selfish society where we just, I'm lonely and I'm this. You have a child. That is your life. And it's not for you to be moping around and say, well, what about me? Don't I deserve happiness? I'm going to say this. If you're Christian, and we're about to study the New Testament, and I think after that we'll be taking Revelation. I think that's what the boy wants to do. If you're not, skip over this, or you can listen to it. What my pastor says all the time, he can't find, and I can't either, my little minimal research, he can't find anywhere where God wants you to be happy. Now, the Bible's full of scriptures and parables about being full of joy, peace, and love, and all that stuff, but happiness. He is famous for saying, God ain't worried about your happiness. He's concerned about your character development and, your relationship with him and your relationship with others. So I think we need to take a step back. If you decided to bring a kid into this world, their happiness, their mindset, their external happiness is more their external environment, and grooming them so they have a healthy internal and spiritual way of looking at life is the most important thing. And I hope no one feels judgment by this video. I was there, and I'm going to tell in it. My son will be 18 in 6 months, so I'm going to tell in the things as far as that being concerned, but I will not have anyone. I'm still going to listen to that. If he and I are living together for a year or two or something, I'm not going to have anyone in my personal space and I know my son lives here. No, you're not going to be in my personal space. You're definitely not going to meet him. Even him being older and going into young adulthood, you're not going to meet him if marriage is not the end goal. And I'm at a point like it doesn't take you all day to recognize sunshine when you're dating, and you're dating for marriage or courtship or whatever they call it these days. It does not take you all day. Everybody needs to put their cards on the table, and we need to figure out, we don't need to belabor a point. So anywho, I hope that helps someone. One, let's not be out in dating and we're not ourselves together. We shouldn't be looking for a handout, or it was one video or something that, someone expected someone to pay for her kids or to buy them a meal when they're, I don't know, whatever the case may be. You don't need to be dating. Two, make sure you have a length of period for when your kid is to meet anyone that you're dating. And three, that person should be in to be stepdaddy or stepmom. Like, it's not you thinking and you're hoping and you're wishing. You actually had a conversation, you're talking about that. You should do a criminal background check on anyone you're dating. And if you have a relationship with your ex, please include them and get into them. Hey, who's around my child? That's a reasonable conversation to have. All right, like, share, subscribe, and I try to find wherever I have like really good lighting in the house until I get one of those cool doohickeys. But I just hope you guys will respond. If you have any other recommendations that I missed, please do not respond with any negativity. This is a positive environment. We want to help people that are out here and they find themselves single and dating and also parenting too. All right, but we want to make sure the kiddos, the crumb snatchers, as I call my son, we want them to be safe and feel loved and don't feel threatened. Okay.